Okay, guys, sorry about that. Somebody actually told me this morning that people are really suffering from hay fever at the moment. There's a lot of pollen around, and I have to say my eyes are watering and my nose is running. I need to sneeze, so I don't know if that's what I'm experiencing, but there may be other occasions where I need to just take a moment there. So please forgive me for that. Obviously don't plan for that to happen. This stuff's live, so it can be the case, right? But at the moment, I can barely see my tablet because my eyes are streaming so much. Never mind. Let's move on. I want to talk to you about Thorndike's laws. Now, let me just advise you that if on your course you do study classical conditioning, you do need to think about Thorndike's laws in relation to classical conditioning. Here, we're going to present it more as a general concept which supports our idea of reinforcement within the operant conditioning model. But Thorndike's laws are ultimately also featured in the concepts of classical conditioning. So if it's on your course, just be aware of that. So, all that being understood, let's have a look at the law of exercise. Thorndike, who, by the way, I have some serious problems with, not because of this particular set of ideas, which I think are pretty reliable, but because of the impact that Thorndike, you may not know who Thorndike is, and that's fine, but Thorndike is one of the most prominent educational psychologists that's ever lived. Died a very, very wealthy man, from basically dictating that education should be based on the divergence from the average. Now, I'm not going to go into that in any more detail, but it's a really fascinating area, and I happen to completely disagree with him. But there you go, that's for another day. Now, let's talk about Thorndike and his 3 laws. So he described the law of exercise, and this said something very simple. I think you'll recognize it. Repetition strengthens, there's an R in there somewhere, strengthens the SR bond. So again, if we think that we want to hone, groove, overlearn a skill, this law of exercise states that, in effect, that the more we repeat it, and hopefully the correct response to the stimulus, but the more we repeat that, the stronger the SR bond is literally going to become, okay? So that makes, I think, a lot of sense to us. We've also got the law of effort, okay? So we've got, guys, this is a mistake. This should say the law of effect, okay? The law of effect, okay? So let's get that right. Reinforcement, as we've just talked about it, reinforcement strengthens the SR bond. Now, again, we're not going to be surprised by that, and we already know that specifically it's positive reinforcement which strengthens or weakens it. And of course, what we're talking about weakening the SR bond, we're talking about a form of punishment that would do that. And then we've got what we call the law of readiness. And the law of readiness states learning occurs only if the nervous and muscular system systems are mature enough. Okay, are mature enough. Okay, so let's hope that that's the case. So, but what it means there, in terms of the law of readiness, what we're saying there is that the practice conditions and the response which is expected from the learners needs to be at a level which is at the physical maturity of the individual concerned. So, of course, if we're looking for a correct throwing technique and we hand an 8-year-old an 800-gram full-size javelin, of course, that's not going to work particularly well because they're not going to be of the physical maturity in their muscular nervous systems to produce that outcome. So we've got to take that into account also. All right, so we've got some nice work there. Let's have a look at our practice questions, and we've got these in place already. Okay, so let's have a little look, guys. I'm afraid I'm going to need to pause again. I'm so sorry.